Mom said she was a transmigrator from a 3D world, a plot-born character whose system required her to romance Dad. Otherwise, she'd fade to dust. I couldn't help it and told Dad. Dad just said, "Fine, let her die then." After that, Mom actually disappeared, and the very same cold, heartless Dad went mad trying to find her. Chapter 1. I wanted to call Daddy, but Mommy set a password on the phone so I couldn't use it. I held the phone high and pointed it at Mommy's face, trying to unlock it, but it didn't open like it usually does. I tried talking to it. "Hey, Siri. Siri, I'm not sneaking anymore. I promise. Please open. I want to call Daddy." But Siri didn't answer me. Normally, I never bother Daddy. Mommy always says Daddy is busy. But today was different. Mommy had been sleeping for a really, really long time. She should have taken me to kindergarten already, but she was still lying in bed, not moving. I leaned against her and whispered, "Mommy, it's time to go to kindergarten." She didn't move. I gently pushed her. Her body was cold and stiff, not like usual. Usually, Mommy is soft and warm and smells nice. I pushed harder, but she still didn't open her eyes. I didn't understand. Normally, Mommy wakes up early to make breakfast, then kisses my cheek and says softly, "Sweetheart, the sun's already up. Time to wake up." But today, she just kept sleeping. When will Daddy come back? He hasn't come home for days. Yesterday was Mommy's birthday. She made a huge dinner, but Daddy never came. I remember hearing Aunt Monica tell Mommy something about his white moonlight is back and you should prepare for divorce. Mommy just gave a sad little smile. I don't know what she said. Later that night, I asked her, "Mommy, what's white moonlight?" Mommy hugged me tight. She was quiet for a long time before whispering, "Everything we once couldn't have becomes the past." I didn't get it. But since then, I really, really hated the moon. "It's all your fault. Stupid moon. You took Daddy away. You're a big bad guy." Chapter 2. I crawled back into bed and stared at Mommy. She looked like a fairy from the TV. Daddy used to watch her while she slept, too. I didn't like it when he did that, because he always pulled me away from Mommy, then bit her like a puppy. Mommy is afraid of dogs, but she never pushed Daddy away. The next morning, Mommy would get up late and scramble to make breakfast. People say little kids forget things, but I remember everything. Still, it's better if Daddy comes around more, because every time he does, Mommy's happy, even when she's rushing around. Her eyes always smile, but Daddy doesn't smile much. He always stares at his phone and barely talks. The teachers at kindergarten say my daddy is the best looking one, but I don't think so. I think Lucas's daddy is cooler. He carries Lucas on his shoulders. My daddy only pulls me out of the car and makes me walk by myself. Chapter 3. I looked at the picture on the nightstand. It was from our trip to the amusement park. Daddy didn't want to go, but Mommy begged him. Just one photo, for Sophia to see when she's grown. If not, it'd be too sad. Her eyes shimmered, maybe tears, but they didn't fall. Daddy finally agreed. In the photo, Mommy holds me in her arms, leaning into Daddy. He's even smiling. I was the happiest of the three. I glanced at Mommy again, still asleep. Her face was pale. Last night, she cuddled me and looked at our photos. "Sophia, you must grow up brave, and never be afraid." I laughed and rolled in bed. "I'll grow up brave and strong." Mommy smiled, too, but there were tears on her cheeks. Lately, Mommy cries a lot, more than me. Later I fell asleep, half asleep. I heard her whispering to someone, "Why are you here already? It's not time yet. Please, just one more call. Let me arrange things for my daughter. She's only 3. I tried to get up, but I was too sleepy. When I woke up again, she was already lying there. I thought maybe she forgot her blanket. That's why she was so cold. I grabbed her hand with both of mine, hoping to make her warm again, but no matter how hard I tried, her hand stayed cold. Why? Chapter 4. I was hungry and went looking for something to eat. I rummaged through all the cupboards but only found a small bag of cookies. I dragged a little stool over to open the fridge, but the stool tipped over and I fell hard. Wah, Mommy, crying. I went to find Mom. She was still sleeping, usually at this time. The moment she heard me fall, she would come and soothe me. I cried and cried until I got tired. Half asleep, I seemed to hear Dad's voice in a dream. No, not a dream, Dad really came back. The door opened, but he didn't come in. It sounded like he was on the phone. Sophia's preschool called. She didn't show up. Don't worry. I'm on my way. Ask the doctor first, okay? His voice was so gentle. He'd never spoken to me or Mom that way, always cold and distant. It must be that moon's fault. I hate the moon. Daddy! I ran out of the bedroom. He frowned. Why aren't you properly dressed? Where's your mother? He was tall, wrapped in cold air. I didn't dare go closer and whispered from the doorway, Mommy's in bed. Sleeping. He still stood at the door. Voice dark, Lisa. My patience is limited. 3 days, sign the divorce papers early. The house and car are yours. It's best for both of us. Bang! A sound from the bedroom. Was Mommy awake? I rushed in. It was just the phone falling off the charger. When I came back out, Dad had already taken the elevator down. I really wanted to run after him. Tell him Mommy wouldn't wake up no matter how I called. But Mommy said children can't ride the elevator alone. Last time I snuck down to the garage, she searched for me forever and cried so hard. I like Mommy smiling. I don't want her to cry. Chapter 5. I finished the cookies and could only drink water. Even after drinking, I was still hungry, and Mommy still wouldn't wake up. I thought she must be sick, so I went to get the medicine she takes when she's ill and tried to feed it to her. She wouldn't open her mouth. It took me forever to get it in. I was so tired that I fell asleep beside her again. When I woke up, preschool was already out. I leaned on the balcony rail looking down. Lucas was on his dad's shoulders, holding hands with his chubby mom. Lucas says his mom isn't fat, she's pregnant. He'll soon have a little brother or sister. I want a little brother or sister too. Auntie Monica came over the other day and told Mommy, Sophia's 3 now. You should have another child. He's an only son. People will try to snatch him. Better have a boy to be safe. Mom shook her head. Feelings tied down by a child aren't stable. Besides, I don't prefer boys over girls. Sophia's fine. He's just busy with work lately. Auntie Monica giggled. Busy? Please. I saw you two in the garage the other day. Enough. Mom covered my ears. Cheeks red. Sophia's right here. Oh, she doesn't understand. She was right, I didn't. That night I asked Mom what they were doing in the garage. Were they sneaking food without me? Mom looked serious. Sophia, do you want a little brother or sister? Of course. I wish I could have one tomorrow. Mom rubbed my nose with hers. Okay, then Mommy will give Sophia a little brother or sister so you won't be lonely. Mom said she grew up an orphan and was afraid of loneliness. She also said she came from another world. And in that world she was sick and about to die. A being called the system told her that in this world, as long as Dad fell in love with her, she could stay healthy and live here forever with me and Dad. Does Dad love you? I asked. Mom didn't answer. It's late. Go to sleep. Sweetheart. Chapter 6. That night, Mommy made me dinner early and sent me to bed. Then I saw her put on a very pretty dress, cook delicious food, and pour wine for Dad. Mommy was so beautiful. But Daddy didn't think so. He shoved Mommy hard and snapped. What? Using your old tricks again? Old tricks? What does that mean? I didn't understand. I secretly peeked through the crack in the door. Mommy was flustered. Setting the wine bottle down, I don't know what you're talking about. Daddy sneered. That year you showed up at the bar, was it really just coincidence? You calculated exactly what I needed back then and approached me on purpose, didn't you? He stood up. I hate being deceived and used the most. Tomorrow we're getting divorced. The house and car are yours. Sophia too. I'll give you enough money so you and your daughter will never worry about food or clothing. Divorce, I understood. In class, Emma's parents got divorced. She lives with her dad now and says no matter how much she misses her mom, it's hard to see her. Mommy's tears rolled down. She was beautiful even when she cried. But I didn't want to see her cry. Hurry and comfort Mommy. I whispered inside my heart to Dad. But Daddy didn't comfort her. He even said Mommy schemed to marry him just for these things. Now that he's granting them, what else does she want? Mommy sat on the carpet, shaking her head. No, I didn't want these things. Even if you had nothing, I liked being with you. Dad didn't believe her. He slammed the door and left. Mommy murmured to herself, you forgot. Back then it was you holding me, not letting me go. You said you liked me so very much. That was the first time someone chose me so firmly. Chapter 7. Mommy, I also like you very much. I pushed her gently. Mommy kept her eyes closed and didn't answer. I leaned over and kissed her, then noticed a strange smell on her body. No. Mommy was always clean, soft, and nice smelling. I didn't like this smell. I ran to the bathroom, grabbed Mommy's shower gel and rubbed it on her, but it only smelled good for a little while. That awful smell came back. Mommy, wake up. I couldn't help crying. I didn't know how long I cried. Outside, rain started to fall, thunder rolling. I was most afraid of thunder. Before, at times like this, Dad would come to our room to be with me and Mommy. He always said I was timid, like a little mouse. I shouted angrily, I'm not a little mouse. I'm not. Oh, then what is Sophia? I stood on the bed, hands on my hips. Righteously, I'm your little baby. He would laugh. And Mommy too. Daddy looked so handsome when he laughed, handsomer than Lucas's dad. But he didn't laugh often, so there weren't many chances to see it. I picked up Mommy's phone, wanting to call Dad, but the screen was dark and wouldn't light up no matter what. I waited and waited, until the rain stopped, the clouds cleared, and daylight came. Still Dad hadn't called. Chapter 8. Ding dong. Ding dong. Someone was pressing the doorbell. Was it Daddy coming back? No, it couldn't be. Daddy would punch in the code. He never rang the bell. Could it be a bad person? I stood by the door and asked timidly, who is it? Sophia, it's me, Auntie Zoe. I quickly pressed my back against the door to block it. Go away! You can't come in. Outside, Zoe still wouldn't give up. Sophia, open the door. Auntie brought you something tasty, and Oscar came to play with you. I don't want to play with her. A boy's voice piped up. Humph, I don't want to play with you either. The whole family are bad people. Auntie Zoe is even worse than bad people. She's the one Monica Auntie calls, that Moonlight something. She looks a little like Mommy, but Mommy is much prettier. The other day when she came, she made Mommy cry so hard. I remember Daddy had just left when this woman came knocking at our door. She had no manners, looking everywhere like she owned the place. Mommy told me to go to my room. I refused. Mommy said I have to grow up brave. Now I have to be brave to protect Mommy. Chapter 9. Zoe sat on the sofa. Seeing how I refused to go to my room, she curled her lips with a haughty look. Oliver has always been a mature, steady man. He shouldn't have raised a child like this. If Oscar were mine, I'd have slapped him already. Mommy held me in her arms. Sophia is only a few years old. Children are naturally lively. Oliver said Sophia should grow according to her nature. What? Your son doesn't have a father to discipline him, but you care so much about someone else's child? Zoe's face went pale, but she still forced a smile. Don't be too smug. Oliver already asked for a divorce. Didn't he? Half of the money he gives you will be mine too. Mommy calmly sipped her tea. Then don't forget, every penny he has now is also half mine. At last Zoe left in a rage, muttering that Mommy only occupied this nest because she looked similar. Mommy showed no anger. If you hadn't married someone else when he was at his hardest time, how could I have had the chance to occupy the nest? Wow, Mommy was like a superhero then. But I don't know why Mommy later cried in the bathroom. I don't know if she was on the phone or talking to herself, saying that if Daddy stopped liking her, she'd completely disappear from this world. She wiped her tears, saying she shouldn't have been greedy, wanting both love and a child by her side, making me suffer in this world. How could that be? Mommy? With you? How could I suffer? I got so scared after hearing Mommy's words that I secretly called Daddy. I said Mommy might die. Daddy asked if Mommy told me to say that. I said no. I wanted to tell him myself. I didn't expect Daddy to get angry, then let her die. I was terrified. Daddy, you're a big bad guy. I don't know what die means, but it can't be anything good. I was so sad. When I turned around, Mommy was standing at the door. She came over, gently hugged me, and said she'd always stay by my side. But, Mommy, what if you die? Then I'll turn into a breeze, a drop of rain, a petal of a flower, and stay with Sophia forever. Chapter 10. That night, Daddy came home and immediately started yelling at Mommy, accusing her of teaching me nonsense. Mommy listened quietly and didn't try to explain herself. When he finally ran out of words, she smiled and asked softly, "You must like me, at least a little, right? If you didn't like me at all, how could we have shared a bed for so long? I know I look a bit like her, but after all this time, I don't believe you can't tell us apart. Oliver, couldn't you try liking me? Just a little?" Mommy cried again. Her lips held a faint smile, but tears streamed down her face. Daddy kept going, saying she had drugged his wine and tried to trap him with a child, calling her pathetic. He said everything between them was just physical need. Mommy didn't move. She looked at him quietly, like a beautiful porcelain doll. Then that porcelain doll spoke with determination. "I won't divorce you, not even if I die." Chapter 11. When I didn't open the door for a long time, the sound outside gradually faded away. I quietly opened the door. It was empty. Sigh. If only she had left the food. I was so hungry I felt dizzy. I couldn't help but start digging through the trash and found a dumpling that had fallen on the floor earlier. Mommy told me not to eat food from the ground. It makes you sick. But I was too hungry. I couldn't resist. I carefully peeled off the trash and took a bite. Suddenly I remembered, Mommy hadn't eaten yet. She's sick. Sick people need to eat to get better. Mommy told me that. How could I forget? I took the filling out of the dumpling, tore it into little pieces, and put it in Mommy's mouth. That strange smell on Mommy got stronger. I climbed on a stool and opened the window to let the air in. "Hey, little one, what are you doing? Get down. That's dangerous." Someone shouted from below. I leaned out and shouted back, "Uncle, I'm just opening the window. I'm not climbing out." But I don't think he heard me. I climbed down and went back to Mommy. That weird smell faded just a little. The family photo by the bed had been blown to the ground by the wind. Chapter 12. I looked at the photo, remembering that afternoon, after Mommy said she would never divorce even if she died. Daddy never came home again, but Mommy took me to Daddy's company. She said she wanted to take some pictures. That day Mommy dressed up beautifully and even put me in a princess dress. Daddy, his face cold, said he had a meeting that afternoon and told Mommy to take me back home. He told her never to come to his office again. Mommy didn't listen. She kept smiling softly and said to Daddy, "This is the last time. After today, I won't come again. Just one photo. When Sophia grows up, she can look at it. Otherwise she'll be so pitiful." Daddy finally agreed. "Come on, handsome and beautiful. Get closer. Smile," the photographer commanded loudly, telling them to smile more. But in the end, I was the only one smiling. After the photos, Mommy said she needed them urgently and asked for them to be developed quickly. Then she turned to Daddy. "Sophia wants McDonald's. Let's take her. Just this once." Daddy frowned, saying junk food was bad for kids. Mommy smiled again. "Just this once. We won't eat it again after today." She took Daddy's hand. "Really? I'm not lying." I leaned in and kissed Daddy's face too, pleading, "Daddy, I want to eat it. Just once. Please? You and Mommy come with me. Just this once." Daddy, still reluctant, went along. Mommy ordered a lot of delicious food, even ice cream I wasn't usually allowed to have. There were many children at McDonald's, but I felt like I was the happiest one. Mommy took lots of pictures, Daddy feeding me ice cream, Daddy wiping cream off my face. We even took a family photo, even though Daddy looked a little impatient. That day, we took more photos than in the rest of our lives combined. In the evening, we went for a walk in Riverside Park. There was a big pirate ship ride in the park. Mommy and I begged and begged until Daddy finally agreed to ride it with us. Under the sunset, I shouted with joy, and Mommy shouted along with me. Daddy's face was no longer cold. It had become helpless instead. The sunset covered the pirate ship, glowing orange, reflecting on the rippling lake. Mommy told me this was called half the river shimmering blue, half the river glowing red. The most beautiful scenery under the sky. On the way back, I fell asleep from exhaustion. Every time I think about it, I regret it so much. If I had known that was the last time I would see the scenery with Mommy and Daddy, I would never, ever have closed my eyes for even a second. But sadly, there's no medicine for regret in this world. Chapter 13. After Daddy dropped us off at home, he was about to go back to the office. Mommy grabbed his sleeve. Today is the happiest day of my life. Oliver, thank you. She stood on tiptoe and kissed him lightly. Daddy lowered his eyes, as if he wanted to say something. His long eyelashes trembled, but in the end nothing came out. It was Mommy who spoke again. But I still won't divorce you. She smiled slyly. Not even if I die. Then she closed the door on him. Daddy was angry outside the door. Mommy was crying inside while smiling. I thought Daddy would regret it. This was their last time being angry, and their last time saying goodbye. Chapter 14. I put the photo next to Mommy. The wind was strong, blowing Mommy's hair into the air. I pulled the blanket over her and found a pretty pearl hair clip to hold her hair in place. There. Now Mommy was my beautiful Mommy again. I planned in my heart that when she woke up, I'd tell her, next year on her birthday, we'd take more photos together. Ding dong, the doorbell rang. Outside was bustling. Someone shouted, "Is anyone home? We're from property management." I opened the door. The uncle who had told me not to lean out the window was there too. As soon as he saw me, he said, "Yes, this is the child." She was leaning out the window just now, half her body outside. Luckily, nothing happened. The lady from the property office smiled kindly at me. "Little one, where are your mom and dad?" "Daddy's at work. Mommy's sick and sleeping. Can we come in and take a look?" I nodded. I led the lady into the bedroom. She went up to Mommy to speak to her, but the next second she screamed. The uncles rushed in. Someone started making calls. Someone covered my eyes. Soon the police came. The doctors came. Daddy finally came too. They said Mommy was dead. Mommy had said that word before. I hadn't understood it then, and I still didn't understand it now. I ran to ask the uncles and aunties. Some sighed. Some shook their heads. Some cried. I ran to ask Daddy. He stood there like a robot without power. The police gave a preliminary report. Time of death around 10 p.m. the night before last. No sign of homicide. Exact cause of death awaiting the coroner. Daddy roared. Impossible. When I came home yesterday morning she was fine. I shook my head, holding Daddy's hand. No, Daddy, when you came home yesterday, Mommy was already sick. I wanted to tell you but you left. I couldn't catch up. Daddy, why doesn't Mommy wake up even when I give her medicine? When will she wake up? Daddy didn't answer. He picked Mommy up and said he was taking her to the doctor. The uncles tried to stop him. Sir, she's gone. You still have your daughter. Please don't scare her. Daddy didn't speak. He just kept walking, until Grandma slapped him across the face to bring him back to reality. Daddy collapsed, holding Mommy and crying. I cried too, and while I cried I heard them saying, "How pitiful." That child was with the corpse the whole time. When the property staff came and they saw the kid so hungry she was eating garbage. Sigh. Probably a stroke or heart attack. These diseases happen to young people too. This makes me so sad. And this man, how could he not even call for so long? Not check in? So tragic. Yes. I didn't think it was pitiful at all. With Mommy beside me, I was the happiest Sophia in the world. Chapter 15. The uncles wheeled down a stretcher, covered with a white sheet. I looked back for Daddy, but I couldn't see him. I knew Mommy was the one lying underneath. Was Mommy playing hide and seek with me again? When we played hide and seek before, she would always hide under the blanket, and I could recognize her right away. She must be just like before. Once I find her, she'll jump out and wrap me in a hug. As the stretcher passed, an auntie covered my eyes. Sophia, sweetie, don't look. I won't. Auntie, I can cover them myself. When I count to 10, I'll let go. Auntie choked back a sob but still smiled. Okay. Sweet Sophia, then count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I counted seriously, but when I put my hands down, The sheet and Mommy were already gone. The white van that had been parked there was slowly driving away. Suddenly, I realized Mommy was in that van, and once she left, I would never see her again. I struggled free from Auntie's arms, chasing with all my might, yelling for them to give Mommy back. But I was too small, and Auntie easily held me back. I could only watch Mommy disappear, little by little, disappearing into my tears, disappearing from my world. Chapter 16. Grandma took me home. She cried while giving me a bath. It was the first time I saw Grandma cry, because she didn't like Mommy before. She didn't like me either. Honestly, in my whole life, I'd only seen Grandma maybe 3 times. After my bath, Grandma called Daddy, but no one answered. She called the driver, and we returned to the home where I lived with Mommy. We found Daddy sitting on the edge of the bed, his face covered in stubble. I ran up and touched his chin. Yep, his beard was prickly again. Daddy, your beard grew out again. But this time, there was no Mommy to help shave it. I hugged Daddy and started crying hard. But Daddy didn't move, his eyes were blank. Grandma got even angrier. She hit Daddy with her cane while yelling, "You didn't cherish her when she was alive. And now you're putting on a show like this for whom?" Then she left, leaving just me and Daddy. Daddy suddenly stared at me, eyes wide, bloodshot. He grabbed my arm tightly and kept asking, "What did Mommy say that night? Was there anything unusual?" Daddy's grip was too strong, it hurt. "I don't know," I cried and wailed. Wah! Auntie Monica had come to deliver food and saw Daddy like this. She quickly picked me up. "What are you doing yelling at a child? She's so small. What could she possibly know?" Auntie Monica tried to comfort me. Then she looked up and spotted the camera in the living room. "Hey, didn't you guys install a security camera? Why don't you check the footage?" Daddy suddenly jumped up and rushed to the study to open the surveillance recordings. Chapter 17. On the surveillance footage, Mom had prepared a whole table of food. She typed something on her phone, fingers tapping, but in the end she put it down again. I leaned in close to her and sang her a birthday song. Her face was full of smiles, but behind my back she secretly wiped away tears. Sigh, why didn't I notice back then? Soon the clock struck 9. I got sleepy, and Mom coaxed me into bed. She lay beside me for a long, long time, just watching me, tracing my outline in the air. From time to time, she'd glance at her phone, give a bitter smile, and set it down again. I don't know how much time passed before Mom's face twisted in pain. She seemed to plead with the air, but the surveillance had no sound. Trembling, she picked up her phone and made a call, but it was quickly hung up. She forced herself to send a message, then collapsed. Struggling, she crawled toward me, pulled the blanket over my little body. Mom whispered something in my ear for the last time. She tried to lift her hand to touch my face but lost all her strength. And then there was no breath left in her. Dad rushed to the living room and grabbed Mom's phone. When he opened it, he saw the call had been to him. The message had been to him too. But at the time, he hadn't reacted at all. A surge of hatred for Dad welled up inside me. He stroked Mom's face through the computer screen. I shouted at him. I know what Mom said. I heard it. I remembered what she had said. Even though I'd fallen asleep, I vaguely remembered. What did she say? I cried and shook my head. Mom said she regretted ever meeting you. If she'd known it would be this bitter, she wouldn't have come at all. Dad stared at me blankly, disbelief on his face. He shoved me hard. You're lying. Did she teach you to say that? Did she? I screamed back. No, I don't lie. That's what Mom said. Mom also said, if it weren't for me, she would have left you long ago. She said only if you fell in love with her could she stay with me forever. I pounded my fists against Dad. Why couldn't you love Mom? Give me back my mom. Give me back my mom. Dad didn't say anything anymore. He just silently shed tears. Chapter 18. After Mom passed away, Dad started spending more time at home. The surveillance footage preserved the last 3 months. Back then, Dad and Mom hadn't fallen out yet, and that so-called moonlight woman hadn't shown up. Occasionally, Dad would bring Mom little gifts, a bouquet of flowers or a small accessory. Each time, he'd hand it over coldly, saying it was from someone else. Mom would shyly accept it and then sneak a kiss on Dad's cheek. I used to be so happy, until Zoe appeared. After she came, Mom often felt shortness of breath and chest tightness. When Aunt Monica came to visit me, she cried and said, "Your mom must have been angered to death. That vile woman completely broke her." My poor baby. So that night, when Dad said he brought me something delicious, I replied, "Auntie Zoe brought the same thing the last time she came over." Mom doesn't like seeing her. Every time she does, she clutches her chest. Mom's cause of death was cardiac disease. I saw Dad's expression change. That night, the phone call and the messages were all meant for Dad. Grandma said Zoe hung up the call. She also deleted the messages. Why does she still get to live so comfortably? I pushed away the food Dad brought, lips pouting. I don't want it. Dad got up and walked out, probably making a phone call. I never saw Zoe again. I heard she got into a serious car accident. They say she might spend the rest of her life bedridden. But so what? My mom isn't coming back. Chapter 19. Soon I started preschool. In these 2 years, Dad often stayed with me. We still lived in the same house where Mom used to live. People said it was a haunted house and told us to move out quickly. But Dad didn't listen, and neither did I. A haunted house was fine by me. I still wanted to see Mom again. I saw Mom every day, in the photos. Our walls were covered with pictures of her, screenshots from videos, our family photos. As I grew older, I realized Mom had been preparing to leave for a long time. When I was little, she made me learn how to dress myself, brush my teeth, and eat by myself, to look both ways before crossing the street, and only use the crosswalk. She gradually reduced the clothes in her closet, either threw them out or gave them away. Her jewelry too. When Dad later sorted through her belongings, he found only one ring left, a diamond ring. Dad gently kissed the ring. Mom once told me she had met Dad at a bar. He slipped that ring on her finger and asked if she'd be with him. Mom smiled so brightly that day. She said, "Sophia." I was so happy then. "Mommy, aren't you happy now?" I asked. She shook her head. Now that I have you, Sophia, I'm still very happy." When Dad saw that ring again, he locked himself in the study. On the computer, there were videos of Mom. In one, she sat at the desk typing, at Lucas's house. I once searched online and found out it was from a novel titled Rebirth, The CEO Fell in Love with Me. It told the story of a girl who idolized the male lead of a novel. After falling gravely ill in real life, she was miraculously transported into the novel world as a side character. The system said if she could successfully win over the male lead and change her fate, she could live in this world forever. So the girl quietly watched the male lead until one day they finally met. He was lonely and struggling, his family facing a financial crisis. The girl worked in a bar, and he saved her from being bullied. Drunk, he looked at her face, pulled out a ring, and asked her to be with him. Even when his first love came back, he didn't waver. He married the girl, started a business, and they had a daughter. The three of them lived happily together. As a child, I couldn't read well and didn't understand the story. But now, every time I reread it, I cry, because it was Mom's story, the one she imagined for herself. Chapter 20. I'm sure Dad must have read Mom's novel too. Otherwise, why would he invest in that high-tech company studying things like two-dimensional and three-dimensional space, quantum fields, biotechnology? He was lucky. By the time I graduated from primary school, that company had become an industry leader. Dad made a fortune. He took me abroad to live in his seaside mansion. The third floor of the mansion was one large flat, a floor where Dad normally didn't allow anyone to enter. One day, while he was on a business trip, I sneaked in. I had already guessed what was inside. Inside was Mom, a lifelike version of her. But I knew it wasn't really Mom. It was a robot, a bioengineered AI replica, an ethically forbidden clone. I gently touched her. She turned around. "Hello? Why are you crying? Do you need help?" "Mom, it's me, Sophia. Are you doing well?" "Sophia, I'm doing very well. Are you sad?" "Mom, play a game with me. Let's play hide and seek. You hide under the blanket. I'll count to 10 and then come find you, okay?" Of course. She hid under the blanket. I hugged her. Just like Mom hugged me that night. Then I turned off the program and walked out of the room. Chapter 21. The news reported the overseas mansion of the major shareholder of the tech company caught fire due to an electrical short circuit. Fortunately, there were no casualties. When Dad came back, he yelled at me. I just sat quietly, looking at him. Do you know, Dad? Mom once said the thing she regretted most was giving birth to me. You hurt her. Yes. But she was just afraid I would keep suffering. To her, you weren't that important either. Dad completely broke down. Watching it gave me a twisted sense of satisfaction. I walked to the lakeside, quietly feeling the wind, watching petals fill the sky. My mom, she is like these petals. The wind, the rain, the sunlight, always by my side.